on games and roles. I can't abide by playing is bad and seriousness is laudable. Buff scherzos are not serious, but he's sincere all the same. Cubs and pubs are playing. And could they learn to hunt and live without such games? I'm confused. I want to play a fitting game. Allergic as I am to inconsistency, untidy as I am in habit, array my room and clothes, I need the order in my thoughts, relating bits and pieces to a whole. Gestalt and chaos are in fight. What else is understanding? Let's start with sex. The many games that men and women, men and men, and parents with their children play, from tender touch to rape and kill, the many thousand kinds and hues perverted or normalcy, the tortures and delighting games, the end game emerges clear enough. Orgasm is the final aim. No more control. The rhythm mounts, unthinking nature has its way, a happening without the games, surrender to unison, a deep withdrawing from the world, the enclosure of a strong gestalt. Two stages are involved. So much is clear. One is the making love in many ways. And screwing is the other stage. One is the thousand splendid thing, sublime and sublimated. It means whereby, as Dewey says. Sameness with power that explodes as animal the end game shows. The end game is a blissful calm. The nothing of nirvana stays but for a while. Gestalt is closed, and satisfaction sweeps throughout the pores of skin and soul. But life goes on. Another need, another game emerges from a fertile void. An appetite, a task, a hurt unhealed, well pushed aside by sex, demands attention, cries for your ears. Wake up and act, for life goes on, unending stream of incomplete Gestalt. Life goes on. So does this book. For some days I wrote nothing. I showed the previous pages to some friends, for I was glad that out of nothing suddenly I wrote in rhythm, feelingly transcending dry description, like a new style coming up, from mentioning music to staying in rhythm, playing with words, yet at the same time an image expressing itself, a total gestalt being projected on paper. I've got to write about myself. I am my lab. The privacy of your experiences is unknown to me except for revelations. There is no bridge from man to man. I guess, imagine, empathize, whatever this may mean. For strangers we are, and strangers we stay except for some identities, the you and I in sameness blend together. Or better still, the you touch me and I touch you when strangeness feels familiar. Most of the time, we are playing games and satellite round and round, avoiding touch collision. I'm still playing artistically with rhythm of words, struggling to go back to the relevant theme I wanted to discuss. I also want to learn to write in verse. No verse that rhymes, but rhythm-wise that flows in downs and up and down, that flows like water rippling soft, yet prose to say what wants to come to mind and heart. No science dry, nor poetry, gestalt emerging from the ground. Life, living self. No plastic death. But words are social, are they not? So fumbling down from life of self to words that play computing games, yet Playing games the sternest rules gives me support and growing skill. No winning games that jeer defeat. That's too earnest, close to death. The joy of new discovered ways, the learning of new ways to be, inventing what was not before, or words not spoken hitherto. Fritz, take a rest. You've done enough. You found your Zen, Tao, or truth. To others too, you made it clear unending growth of honest strife. What more you want? Still not enough? No greed for more, but peaceful rest that sits not still like frozen cubes. A rest that moves from within out, from out within in rhythm style. A pendulum that is like time, a heart that beats, contracts and goes. Contact, withdrawal, world and self in supplementing harmony. Come. Preach to others what you want. You mean yourself and not the world. For mirrors are where we assume you look through windows, light and gloom. You see yourself, you don't see us. Project yourself, get rid of the impoverished self, take back your own, become a project, play deep. The role of others is yourself. Come, take it back and grow some more, assimilate what you disowned. If you have hate for something there, this is yourself, though hard to bear. For you are I, and I am thou. You hate in you what you despise. You hate yourself and think it's me. Projections are the damnedest thing. They fuck you up and make you blind. Blow up to mountains, little hills to justify your prejudice. Come to your senses. See it clear, observe what's real. Not your thoughts, but what is real. Does one know? No, I'm stuck. That much is sure. The impasse symptoms all appear. Confusion, panic, and the wine one can't decide. It doesn't flow. I promise goods, defend myself. I want to move, but stuck in mud, can't lift my boots to go ahead. Too much in love with rhythm flow to let the teacher preach ahead in sorting out phenomena that are obscure and need perspective as a light to clarify what is unknown. What do we know of games? What is the opposite? King Lear on stage, he has no reign. As soon he leaves the Shakespeare props, the paper crown, perhaps he's a drunken bum without a penny or a home. But then, the king on stage is lonely too, without rain and home. So what is real? What is play? Ask Pirandello, ask Genet. They know the twilight zone of play and truth. It can be this, it can be that, it can be both together. Foreplaying has a twofold aim, to grow and love a happening, or happiness of growth denies stagnation that comes from sameness and implosion. The cliches, patterns which don't change, they are secure and safe like death. The rigor mortis, rigor vitae are alike in many ways that Freud has seen. He also saw the greatest thing, that thinking is rehearsing, trying out. But what are we rehearsing for? A play, an action, what performance? Without rehearsing, we take risks. We are spontaneous, impulsive, ready to act without the heat of dangers, real or in fantasy. Without rehearsing, we jump in, not testing heat or iciness. To hell with consequences, hero-like with blinders for survival. But the majority, but most of us are different. Afraid of risks, we must make sure that nothing happens that disturbs the safe routine from 9 to 4, insurance, paychecks, fixed relationships. We have rehearsed for social roles with college learning in degrees, correct behavior for success. Thus, inching up the ladder to the top, we play the biggest noise on earth, with using power for sadistic aims, compiling money we don't need. A stomach ulcer prompts the appetite. A smirk replaces laughter. Connections, better than a friendship, puts a strain on our acting. Retrieving vainly our soul in Sunday's church and New Year's resolutions. And there are other sides to it. The good boy is a spiteful brat. The clean one is compulsive. The weak one snipes a hidden shot. The helpful is intruding pest. The dreams of youth turned nightmare-like to sour one's existence. What did we do? What ghastly play ensued from all that gifted promise? In the center of every neurosis is the impasse. An impasse will manifest itself in different ways, but will in every case be grounded in a fantastic, fantasy-based distortion of observable reality. A neurotic is incapable of seeing the obvious. He's lost his senses. The healthy person trusts his senses rather than his concepts, his prejudices. In Anderson's The Emperor Closes, everybody is hypnotized, but the child has no delusions. To him, the emperor is as naked as he is. With angry whoosh, the adults frown. You can't be so audacious. The emperor's clothes are beautiful. You stupid just can't see it. The child is stunned. The world breaks down. How can I trust my senses? They love me not if I can see. I need their love more than the truth. It's hard to swallow, but I take my lesson in adjustment. It could have happened otherwise. Who knows the laws of stories? If I allow the child to scream, the king is naked, and neither frowning nor reproach repress the child's protesting, he could unmask them as some fools with tolerate deception. Oh, shame on you, my fallen king, you self-cheating, cheated cheater. I'm up early. Look over the section. I don't like it. It reads stuffy like a school composition. Oral and anal zone. Stuffy, stuffy, stuffy. Why can't you just say Freud? You have a mouth and an asshole. And a big mouth. So I have I. And you are an asshole and I am an asshole. We both are pompous asses, taking us so seriously. We have to produce big theories for mankind. I had enough. Let's throw the whole garbage pail into a super garbage bin and have done with it. Top dog. Fritz, you can't do this. One more unfinished manuscript? Readers or not, publish or not, you had excitements, new insights and discoveries. What if others profit by it? This is not the point, said the underdog. I'm getting obsessed with words, and I'm becoming selective. What I see, think, and remember is being put into words, viewed from a writer's point of view. This morning I felt close to insanity. Words were crawling all over me like termites. All the more I suggest you go on. At times your words, feelings, and thoughts came together in poetry. If you're stuck between the verbal and the non-verbal, then look at your impasse. Use your own theory. Underdog. Disciplining and forcing myself is not my preaching. Top dog. Who speaks of preaching? You yourself said over and over that any mental illness is the result of phobic behavior. You declare over and over that Freud could, in spite of all his discoveries, not finish his work because he had severe phobias. Now you're becoming phobic yourself. Now you're avoiding the pain of drudgery or possible slight to your vanity. Underdog, you're right and you're wrong. Sure, I'm phobic when it comes to insanity. I don't want to go crazy. Stop that nonsense immediately. You know that you are a near borderline case. You know that you had the courage to go a few times close to the border of insanity. You know that your dreams are schizzy. You want to explore schizophrenia. You know how with all your pathology you manage to develop into a being of which many, many are jealous. And most of all, your role on earth is not finished. You're beginning to assume a place in history, at least in psychology, perhaps in philosophy. Underdog, blah, 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 blah. Talk. Now, Fritz, don't make me angry, and don't play the spiteful brat. Underdog, ha, I got you. I can play teacher and can play sexpot, but I must not play spiteful brat. Talk, well, you are too sharp for me. So do what you want to do. Never mind. I will. I feel better after this conversation. I will pretend there's no atomic bomb in the background, and I will live forever. That at least will take some pressure off my writing. On anxiety. To me, the discussion of anxiety is especially important because it opens the door to the dynamic aspects of the organism's function. I don't understand your reasoning. To me, anxiety is a malfunction, a disturbing factor, reaching, as you said yourself, sometimes the status of an illness. Patience, my dear. I meant the expression, it opens the door is badly chosen. Will you be satisfied if I say it gives me an opportunity or excuse to? Yes, my dear. Are you getting chummy? You keep quiet for a while and listen to what I've got to say about normal dynamics, okay? Okay, but I'll be back. So mind your P's and Q's. Let me just remind of your statement that the unfinished situation provided the dynamic that any unfinished situation will push towards completion. Yes, how? By drinking water when you are thirsty. And where do we get the energy from? No machine or organism can function without energy. Where does not the water get a libidinal cathexis? I admit this is a good term of Freud for the figure background formation. The Gestaltists call it Aufforderungscharakter, character of demand. The water demands to be swallowed. This sounds like nonsense to me. The water wouldn't say such a thing. Don't be so particular. Of course, the term is a poetic projection, but it's phenomenologically correct. So accept the libido in this case. Yes, if you have a sexual urge for this water. Isn't it more reasonable to reserve libido for its original connotation of sexual energy? Then we still have to say, where does the energy to walk to the water come from? Now you're talking. And my answer is, I don't know. I can only theorize and subscribe to an intermediate term. I can do something else in this process. I can include my theory on emotions. I said before, I don't subscribe to the deification theory of Aristotle and Freud. I don't consider emotions a nuisance to be gotten rid of. Whether or not you consider anxiety an emotion, it will find its place in that theory. Then you're using the gimmick of explanatoriness. Partly I do, but you will see that I also will produce some real understanding about the nature of anxiety. All right, shoot. If you're so bluntly, you make me unsure how to begin. You make me squirm somewhat. Now I can say ha, so shoot. In the beginning was what? In the beginning there were some terms, some general terms created by people who knew as little as I do about what the specific organismic energy is. They did not want to commit themselves to say it is electrical or chemical or libidinal or whatnot energy. So they gave them an indifferent name like Bergson's élan vital or bioenergy, that is life energy. I like to use the term excitement. Excitement can be experienced and has an affinity to the specific property of protoplasm, excitability. This excitement is provided by the metabolism of the organism. That very gestalt, which from the survival point of view has the greatest significance, gets the most excitement, and is thus capable of emerging and using its excitement for orientation and coping. In many cases, this coping requires an extraordinary amount of excitement, and this is experienced as an emotion. Excitement in this case undergoes an hormonal transformation. This hormonal transformation changes the generalized, indifferent form of excitement into specific ones. We already know that anger and fear are connected with adrenaline and sex with the procreative glands. About the hormonal situation in grief, joy, and despair, and so on, we know next to nothing. Next step. These emotions are not just discharged, but transformed mostly into motoric energy, in anger into hitting and kicking, in grief into sobbing, in joy into dancing and sex. Well, I don't have to tell you about those ridiculous movements. After the available excitement has been fully transformed in experience, then we have good closure, satisfaction, temporary peace, and nirvana. A mere discharge will hardly bring about the feeling of exhaustion and being spent. To sum up, excitement is both an experience and the basic form of organismic energy. Fritz, congratulations. That's not badly put. Your theory fits the facts. Maybe your transformation theory is even original. It has one fault. Huh? You left out anxiety. Or could it be that you are mixing up fear and anxiety? In that case, anxiety would be connected with adrenaline and not with thyrotoxin. You're a sharp cookie. I'm glad you're a part of me, but sometimes you are dumb too. You could have realized that I, and not only I, see anxiety not as a healthy state, but the emotions I just described are the normal emotional metabolism. You mean the thyroid gland is abnormal and produces anxiety? Don't be a dope. Listen. Stop that clowning and be serious. I'm writing a serious scientific book. I agree that you're writing a book. Whether you are serious is another question. So what is this thyroid bit? Let's formulate it this way. The thyroid, if it is that gland, the thyroid hormone turns biochemical stuff into bioenergy, like in the case of an accumulator, where chemical energy is transformed into electric power. I like that. Then the thyroid has nothing to do with anxiety. It can. Let's say for the time being, a person who produces too much thyroid, like in Basedow's type, that is a person who is overexcited, such person is more prone to anxiety than normal. So what is normal? The 0 point of optimal thyroid production. Too little produces the mongoloid type, who is underexcited, often stupid and lazy. Its opposite is the Basedow type, who is go, 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 go. Where do the chemicals come from? From the food we assimilate, transformed into those chemicals. Where does the food come from? From the supermarket. What makes you go to the supermarket? My hunger. What produces your hunger? The lack of those chemicals. Where do these chemicals come from? From the food we assimilate. Where does the food come from? From the supermarket. Hey, stop that. You're playing stupid. No, I'm playing your theory of the chicken and the egg. Well, stop wasting our time and give us something concrete. Okay. You can see that anxiety is always related to the future. Now, what we know about the future? Next to nothing, very little. What do we know about the present? Quite a bit if we let be. Yes, I go a step further and come back to the philosophy of nothingness. The future holds plenty of possibilities, but of the actuality of this future we know nothing. To say the least, we are not aware of anything except through the crystal ball, if you believe in that. And even with the crystal ball, we are not aware of the future, but of a vision of the future, just as we cannot be aware of the past, only of the memories of the past. Now, this is my first thesis. Anxiety is the tension between the now and the later. This gap is a void that usually is filled with planning, predictions, reasonable expectations, insurance policies. It is filled with habitual repetition. This inertia prevents us from having a future and hangs on to sameness. For most people, the future is a sterile void. Now let's go to the most frequent form of anxiety, stage fright. I'm inclined to say that all anxiety is stage fright. If it's not stage fright that is related to performing, then the phenomenon in question is dread. Or anxiety is an attempt to overcome the dread of nothingness, often appearing in the form of nothingness equal death. We link up now with the second level of my neurosis theory, the role-playing level. Anytime we are not sure of some of our roles, we develop anxiety. And we link up with the fantasy in Freud's dictum that thinking is rehearsing. We rehearse for our roles if we are not sure of them. And we link up with the fact that all reality is the now. As soon as we leave the secure position of being in the touch with the present and jump into the future, we lose the support of orientation. And we link up with self-actualization versus self-concept of actualization, a permanent source of anxiety. And we link up with the dynamic of excitement. The transformation into emotions and coping is blocked, stagnating. We get an overflow of excitement. We understand now the role of the tranquilizer in modern psychiatry. With lobotomy, we cut out the fantasy life of the patient. With the tranquilizer's vitality, which through maldistribution of excitement has gone haywire. Anxiety derived its connotation from the Latin word angustia, the narrow path. Excitement cannot flow freely through the bottleneck that leads into transformation. It also refers to the narrowness of the chest. With this we have arrived at the physiological aspect of anxiety. The mobilized overexcitement needs more oxygen, so the heart begins to race to provide more oxygen because we hold our breath in expectation. This puts an additional strain on the heart, and the doctor usually warns his cardiac patient to keep away from overexcitement. Freud's theory of anxiety as birth trauma is a projection to the past. The breathing is out of kilter in anxiety. Repression of libido, aggression, and so on is the blocking of excitement. I have filmed to show that any stage fright disappears as soon as the patient gets in touch with the present and lets go of the preoccupation with the future. Don't push the river. It flows by itself. In and out of the garbage pail put I my creation, be it lively, be it stale, sadness or elation. Joys and sorrows, as I had, will be re-inspected, feeling sane and being mad, taken or rejected. Junk and chaos come to halt, set of wild confusion form a meaningful gestalt at my life's conclusion. Now the chapter I want to read is the first chapter on part 6, and it's called Voices. I am in real trouble. I'm producing sentences on paper, have them typed, Xeroxed, proofread, and all the time I don't even know to whom am I talking. I'm anxious to get a feedback. When I'm thinking, I do the same in fantasy. I talk to somebody, and I don't know to whom I'm talking. I don't really hear myself thinking except in verse. Sometimes I feel different. When I split myself up into top dog and underdog, I feel some communication. When I'm playing a lecture or demonstrate my theories, I'm addressing a class. When I'm attacking somebody, be it Freud or the Prussian lieutenant, I have a reader as witness of my courage and my viciousness. In either case, I'm not alone. When I'm writing these here sentences, I'm alone, and I just had a sudden experience. I was dictating those sentences to myself, and I'm also the recorder who has to watch grammar and spelling. I can conjure up purposes and other justifications to write the book, to exhibit myself, to satisfy the curiosity of my friends, to sort myself out. I'm still alone and lost. Where are you? Who are you to whom I want to speak? No answer. I can't stop either. I can't let go of the idea that I'm doing something important for you and for myself. If someone would be here, would he be interested? I used to boast compulsively to impress people with my brilliance. This is very much less now. And when I'm impolite and rude, I also want to impress with my impoliteness and rudeness. I would rather touch and kiss than talk. Am I playing true confession games? All those silly questions. A fool is waiting for an answer. I want to try the projection game. Mr. X, I want to show you how brilliant I am, and I want to show you how evil I am. Now my reader, that is I, you, is not convinced that either I, you, try for 70 years to convince me, you, that I, you, am brilliant and evil. Hermann Hesse, Goethe, Mozart found a way out. They project the good and bad into a novel, a play, an opera. Goethe does not admit to himself being the seducer, the all-negating spirit, the seeker of omnipotence, the counterpart of the angels. He puts it on Mephistopheles. Mozart, as librettist, does not admit to bragging about his conquests, his cowardice, his bribeability. He puts it on Leporello. Hesse does the same in the Steppenwolf, but he's also Siddhartha, the saint. Mozart Don Giovanni can be the epitome of charm and courage, Faust the noble seeker of truth. I got some consolation from those paragraphs. Or did I play a trick on you and myself by picking out brilliance and evil? Pride and confidence, where are you? Am I addressing you? Is my show of being securely grounded in myself a foolish synthetic role? Does my smoking hide my unsureness? These ruminations might bring me closer to investigating the smoking symptom, but I still don't know to whom I am talking. To whom to talk, I have no choice. With whom to walk, a whimper voice that is alone and is not found. They all are gone, no noise, no sound. McLuhan, the medium is the message. I try your suggestion. I'm now not writing but print writing. My typist will be glad. Easy reading, no rush, On the contrary, I'm playing calligraphically with letters. Looks nice. It's fun. The fact of talking is the message. True, as far as the voice is concerned. The voice is the message. Persona, through sound. Per equal through sound, sona, sonare, to sing. Try talking gibberish. Relieved from squeezing abstract notions into sounds, your voice gets angry, or wailing, or crushing, or anxious. Relieved from abstract notions, I want to squeeze the sound into a loving potion. Looking, no, listening, scanning for sound relations. Looking for sound so that I can finish the verse. Sound relations also mean healthy relations. That is true, said he, snapping his finger. That is true, says I, lighting my cigarette. I'm getting through the impasse. I'm listening. I'm listening to your voices. I have a sound relationship. Do you sing or do you saw? Do you stroke or do you rasp? Is your voice dead or soaked in tears? Are you machine gunning me with the rapidity and explosiveness of each of your words? You put me to sleep with lullaby softness. You take my breath away with the end of your anxiety. You scream at me, a shrew talking to a deaf neighbor over the fence. Do you torture me with mumbling low sounds in order to make me strain and come to you to receive your mindless communications? Or keep me on tenterhooks with stuttering like telling an endless joke for just a tiny punchline laugh? Is your voice boomingly filling in the room, leaving no place for anyone else? Or are you whining, turning me into your wailing wall? You arouse tensions with elevated brows, underlining a conspiratory whisper. You punish me with the daggers of your Sunday school teacher's finger-pointing screech. Drown me with a priest's oily suffocation. Or are you engulfing me, loving sound vibrations, melting me and turning on lush embracing fantasies? No need to listen to the content. The medium is the message. Your words lie or persuade, but the sound is true. Poison or nourishment. And I dance to your music, or I run away. I cringe or be attracted. And get a consolation from this investigation. I myself can't be too evil, for many of you are in love with my voice. And I found my rhyme to sound. On growth and neurosis. I take for granted that the sperm that wins the race of million sperms might not be chosen. The ovum might select its mate. Mechanics don't apply to life. Life is awareness of its needs, its self-supporting feelings. Each cell selects, assimilates nutrition from the plasma. It uses stuff from which to make the bile, the hormones, or the thoughts. It has a mind. It knows its job. It has a social conscience. Its own survival is in tune and serves the total organism. The cells know much more than we think in arrogant computing. Awareness, sensing that we lost, is still intact if we let be. The ovum thus might not accept the most ambitious suitor. A marriage is perfected. The unicell begins to split, proliferate. Potential man, self-actualizing as beginning man, receives support. Yes, all support right in the mother's womb. The food, the warmth, the oxygen, the building stones are there to structure predetermined plans from genes. It swims, it listens, kicks around for Lebensraum to mobilize its muscles. A painful birth, tremendous change. No shelter, warmth, or oxygen. It has to do some breathing now, for life is breath. The logos of the psyche breath is called psychologia. The first need to support itself appears. You want to live? So get your breath. Blue baby is the impasse called that patterns many later. For death will be if you don't risk a self-supporting breathing. Cry out in pain, for cry is breath to overcome your impasse. And growth goes on. More self-support, more self-support, more self-support replaces outside helping. The help from outside is withdrawn. You learn to walk and are not carried. You play with sounds, then words. Communicate, express yourself. You rate the icebox if not fed. You choose your friends if love recedes. You earn your bread from form own ideas and take your place among your peers. Now you're grown, responsive to existence, no drag to other people, not a neurotic who demands support from outside sources. I call neurotic any man who uses his potential instead of growing up himself, manipulates the others. He takes control, gets power mad, and mobilizes friends and kin in places where he is impotent to use his own resources. He does so because he cannot stand such tensions and frustrations that go along with growing up. And taking risks is risky too fearful to consider. He thinks he's lost without a help. He sucks you in. He uses you unheeding your requirements. Manipulating others is an art which he acquires early. He plays some roles, selects well to domineer the others who believe him. He forms a character, which watertight belief makes you believe he's genuine, where expert eyes, well used to tricks, discover merely phoniness. What games do our patients play? What roles do they consider? Most frequent are dependence games. I cannot live without you, dear. You're so great, so wise, so good. You solve my problems for a fee, or better still, for liking me. The poor me game is also known for being quite effective. To melt a heart that seems withdrawn and cruel and rejective. Turn on your easy flowing tears, my lovely cunning beauty, until mascara runs and smears your photogenic beauty. Blackmailing is another one. I hate you now. I'll kill myself. I'll be redeemed. but you will have a lousy reputation. Transference is a lovely game that can be played forever. I turn you in my father, dog, and you be dear and clever, what he has done and has not done, what he should do and should not do, what I remember or forget. When did I screw my mother? I am lying on your lovely couch for years, decades and centuries. I should live that long. Avoid to touch in meeting you so that we both play undisturbed with symbols, insights and taboo. The center. Philosophizing is a drag, and don't you dare deny it. If you could wade through all that stuff that in the previous chapter pontificating I displayed, then you deserve to clarify what is obscure, what does not fit, where holes appear, and incomplete conceptualizing need repair. For I am biased, and like you have incomplete perspective, trust vaguely hoping that I could create a center of a view that will embrace consistently the spheres and things, the disciplines, the mind, the body, medicine, and growing up. Psychology that hopeful will encompass the human and the all. Already, as it stands, the theory of nothing but awareness, outmoding things like vessels in which some mental things take place, the consciousness, the mind, with its unfriendly dissociations, has proven its effectiveness. I could not say that hell broke loose when publishing that concept in 1942. But more and more of groups have formed with many funny callings, the T groups and encounter groups and sensory awareness, the microlabs and other tabs for training in talarita, sensitivity, the sounding like an engine, the music seems to override a serious discussion. Those are not phonies, they mean well, not always copycats, but segment-orientated. Impossible to give them hell for using parts so unrelated to growing up and being whole, thus missing some important step to reach the therapeutic goal to center one's existence. Without a center, you despair of ever being real. The hollow man of our time, the plastic robot, living corpse, he's inventing 1,000 ways of being self-destructive. Without a center, we are lost. We wobble without taking stands. Yes, unalert, no balanced grace. Yes, yellow and rigidity and cliches and deception characterizes modern man in 1960. He has no center, has as death a catatonic stupor. He needs excitement, artifacts, no matter in what strata of high or low society he is spending his existence. The banker needs his alcohol, the hippie marijuana, to turn them on and to forget that with a healthy center there is excitement, strong enough to be alive, and creative, and real, and in touch, and all there and fully aware. My Rorschach test. The first kiss is a Rorschach test. You touch a stranger's mouth and lips, you find a tight-lipped "I don't care," or greediness that sucks you in, indifference that's testing you, a peck that is dismissing you, a gentle warning, heed the hurt, A crunching, maiming takes your breath. A stroking, sex-implying lick. A mouth that stings like stomach shit. A dryness like frigidity. A tightness like a restless arm. A foamy rubber flabbiness. A few that spell fulfillment. A waiting, holding premises for melting altogether. Abolishing, ensooning isolation. Each kiss, I say, is different if you discover subtleties with full, alive involvement. Die Engel, die nennen es Himmelsfreud, die Teufel, die nennen es Höllenleid, die Menschen, die nennen es Liebe. The angels call it heaven's joy, the devil's hellish torture. Man calls it love. Idle speculations. I begin to understand something new. For days, I have sudden spells of tiredness, letting go of my senses of the outer zone. Withdraw, not completely. Don't fall asleep. Don't go all the way down into oblivion. My fertile void is boiling. The sterile void, the world of boredom is gone. How to harness the richness of the fertile void? This is more than a garbage pail, more than just obsolete stuff coming up. But it's too much. Thoughts, emotion, pictures, judgment, too much excitement. Gestalt formation is in danger. Schizophrenic fractionalism, chaotically manifesting its right to be, overwhelms me. Stay in touch. Take your tiredness to dampen the hysteria of too many voices screaming for attention. Simmer down. Stay with Heisenberg's principle. Observe facts, change through being observed. Tiredness. I took you like boredom for my enemy. I took you for something that wants to deprive me of a part of my life. You know how greedy I am. More and more and more. Fertile void, speak through me, let me be in grace. Let the blessed through me see you face to face. Write 1,000 pages, 100,000 words. Stop to be a cagey, that is for the birds. As the pen is sliding, bleeding, joy and pain, I can't more abiding that I lived in vain. Finally, I know that I have much to say. What I have discovered is now here to stay. Rum to rotatita, let us dance and jump. Ratatita tuta, no mas rotilam. Not bemoaning what I am but a kuka. Ooza pooza romatom. What is that to look at? Yippee, I'm crazy and I like it. Talk between top dog and underdog. Top dog, stop Fritz, what are you doing? Underdog, what do you mean? Top dog, you know very well what I mean. You're jumping from one thing to another. You're starting something like identification, then mention confluence. Now I already see that you're ready to plunge into a discussion on repression. Underdog, I still don't see your objections. You don't see my objections? Man, who the hell can get a clear picture of your therapy? Underdog, you mean I shall take a blackboard and make tables and categorize every term, every opposite neatly? Top dog, that's not a bad idea. You could do that. Underdog, no, I won't, at least not at this stage. But I tell you what I can do. I can eventually print different typefaces for biographical, philosophical, therapeutic and poetic material. Well, that is at least an idea. Underdog. So what do you want me to do? Stop letting the river flow? Stop playing my garbage pail game? Well, that wouldn't be a bad idea if you would sit down and discipline yourself like Paul did and write 1. Your biography, 2. Your theory, 3. Case histories, dreamwork, etc. 4. Poetry if you must. Underdog. Go to hell. You know me better. If I try to do something deliberate and under pressure, I get spiteful and go on strike. All my life, I've been a drifter. So let me drift and sail the seas of 100 verbal oceans, and let such captain be in charge who is the top controller. So let me sleep as long I like and have a lazy breakfast, then brave a wind that's shivering me, the waves, the boat, and friends aboard. So let me travel by myself, without a wife and children, without a guru, or a friend, or any obligation. So let me empty all my trunks, get rid of surplus baggage, until I'm freed of all that crap that clutters up my living. So let me be and die my way, a clearinghouse for people, a lonely bum who loves to joke and think and play, and is all there. So let the world, the cell, the bees be filled with thought, emotions, and let me drift and sail the seas of 100 verbal oceans. Top dog. I hear your plea. I feel your tears. Farewell, you lonely sailor. You made your bed. You forged your chains. Enjoy your heavy dancing. Farewell for now, but I'll be back with my relentless bugging until the last day of your life when we will part forever. You married me and not your wife, and you thought you were clever. For you is I, and I is you, and we will die together. Reader. Hi there, stop that sentimental stuff. I paid my fee to get a peep what you have been doing. You left Japan and went from there, where?